case studies, presentations, etc. So in different forms, the e-content may be there, and my focus will be on the self-instructional material, and the which they specifically or popularly it is called PDF or other forms that you may have. And the basic difference we have to understand while we are writing the material for the students on distance and online learning mode. In that case, when in a regular form or mode, in offline mode, the student and teachers, they are always in contact. There is face-to-face interaction between the teacher and learner. But in case of online teaching learning program or teaching learning process, madam, please unmute your mic. In this online teaching learning process, the teachers and student have no face-to-face contact or regular contact. Through virtual classroom, they may meet, or what you can say, the supplementary material which is required, that is to be supplied on a learning management system. And this material should be as much as self-explanatory that will be useful for the students, and there will be no question in their mind after reading that material and watching videos, whatever provided on the learning management system. Sampal madam,
तो
please
आधीचा होता
unmute
सर
your mic.
आपला हॉस्पिटल मॅनेजमेंटचा, प्लस आम्ही इकडचं तिकडचं बघून त्याच्यात ऍड केला. हा, आणि आता ते म्हणलेत आमच्या परीने आम्ही करतो.
तो जो आमच्याकडे सिलेक्ट झाला तो आधीचा प्लस तुम्ही असं जेणेकरून आम्हाला दिले.
येस, ओरिजिनल काय
Sampal madam,
सॉरी सॉरी.
so when this e-content is to be developed in the form of self-instructional material, that is SEAM, this is to be provided in the form of PDF to the students on learning management system. And what I want to say here, suppose there is any doubt in the mind of a student, then there will be no teacher to answer that question. Instead of that, the material itself should answer the question. And so wherever the material we are giving there, it should be self-sufficient. So in what meaning this should be self-sufficient? As far as the syllabi of a particular program, if we see, according to that, the particular SEAM is to be developed, and it is to be provided to the students on online mode. Actually, in this content, you may know that the one slide I would like to share here. Is this slide visible to all of you?
Yes, sir, it is
Yes, sir.
visible.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So, especially for the distance education, we have already developed many themes, and for a particular unit, this format is used. For example, suppose this is unit 4, then the firstly there will be objective, and objectives according to a particular content that we have to write here at what will be the outcome of this particular unit that should be reflected in the objectives. And then there will be introduction of the particular unit, in which along with the primary information regarding a particular theme or idea, we have to give what that particular unit contains or what it includes. Then the second part of this the material will be presentation of subject matter. Actually, this is a core part of the self-instructional material, in which you may have different sections and not limited to 3 sections, but as per the requirement of particular unit, that may be of 2 sections or 3 sections or 5 sections. As per the requirement, you can make the presentation of subject matter in divided into different sections. But when such a section is to be given, then in that section, after that, you can have check your progress. Why such things are there? That these will be the objective type questions that may be true or false, or it may be the multiple choice questions, or it may be the pairs. So according to that, you can have the evaluation of the student on continuous basis. So that's why the student also try to understand himself that whether I have got the knowledge, whether I learn that particular thing, and that is to be confirmed by after a regular interval of check your progress. Then different sections may be there, and by that the uh, student can have look at those sections as per the availability of his or her time. So that's why it will be useful to them again. Another thing is that when we write such a presentation of subject matter, within this, that may be first section like meaning of a particular concept. Then in second section, there may be advantages. Third section, it may be disadvantages likewise. Or if there are the features, then if there are features, then or characteristics, that may be included in the first part, as the concept's meaning is to be understood by the features or characteristics. And some other part will particularly, suppose if it is a process or system, so the components or stages are to be given in the next part. Accordingly, you can divide your whole subject matter in different sections. And in this particular number of sections, there should be a proper flow. As you know, when we read the book, the particular flow of reading is maintained. That's why we can continue our reading, and that will be helpful for learner, especially to continue his reading on a particular topic or particular unit. Then another thing is there. It is called summary. Summary is nothing but the gist of whole unit. What is covered by this particular unit is written in the summary. Then glossary is also a part of unit. Glossary means what? What are the terms used in a particular unit? They are to be clarified, or you can say the definitions, standard definitions or comprehensive definitions of a particular concept are to be given in the glossary. That's why at a glance they can understand the particular concept. Then whatever check your progress is given in the subject matter, their answers are given after glossary. You can say that will be answer key for check your progress. So if they want to check the progress, or they want to check whether the knowledge they have gained, that can be confirmed by those answers. And when writers are giving such type of questions, multiple choice questions or true or false questions, or you can say objective type questions, and their answers, at that time there should not be ambiguity in the answers. The clear answer should be there. There should not be such a question where alternative answers are there. So you have to avoid here. The questions should be taken in such a way that there will be a particular objective answer and there should not be alternative answers. So the questions will be systematically arranged and written. And with this exercise, when we will give check your progress in the subject matter and answers at the end. So in hand, the particular student can have this facility to check their progress at regular interval when they are going to complete their own particular unit on or in a particular program, so or particular course. Then there will be exercise that these will be the questions what is expected, that by taking those questions the learner should write the answers to those questions. That's why he can understand and try to explore the knowledge what he or she has already taken. And he, the evaluator can check, assessment can be done by the particular distance learning center or the examiner. Then references are also to be given, reference for further study. So if the student want to read more things about the same concept or same idea, same unit, then you have to give the reference material resources, which resources will be useful to them for studying this particular topic. So with this you can see what is the structure of a particular unit that we can see here. Another thing is that if I have taken here one example, suppose introduction to management is a unit, and in this unit some components are there, like introduction to management is a unit, and this you can see this unit include concept of management, nature, scope and functions of management, elements of management, levels of management, and importance and functional areas of management, then management of business environment, then social responsibility of management. In that case, you can divide all this matter as concept of management, nature, scope, functions, elements, levels of management and in its functions, then importance and functional areas of management, management of business environment, the social responsibility of management. In that case, we can make several sections. For example, the first section we can make the meaning of management or concept of management, under which you can have the meaning of management, nature of management, and scope of management. Then you can have another section for functions and elements of management, in which you can take that one. Then levels of management and its functions, that will be another section. Importance and functional areas of management will be taken separately. Then another section you can make as management of business environment, and the last section will be the social responsibility of management or social responsibility of business, whatever given in the unit. Accordingly, the sections we can have means one unit we can divide into sections. In a particularly online program, we can say the modules, the unit can be divided into modules, and it is to be decided that one module can be taken in the form of video. Along with that, the material is to be provided in the form of PDF, and some material will be given for, or so any particular module may be in the form of video, or particularly in the form of a PDF form. So such type of decision can be taken by the center, and accordingly the self-instructional material is to be developed. Then one thing I would like to tell you, that what type of self-instructional material we have to develop, that we have seen now. But how this will be useful to the learner, that we have to consider when we are writing that material. So when learners have teacher inbuilt in, see what the particular material, if we see, that material should be like a teacher inbuilt in them. What it means, that if we have a education in offline mode, in that case what happens, the teachers and students can come together, they can have interaction, face to face interaction is there. But in case of this online program, it is not possible, and that's why the self instructional material should be like a teacher. It should work as a teacher or guide and support that particular student at each and every step. Then the particular SIM should perform the functions of an effective classroom teacher by providing the learning experiences, as it is, whether it is similar to the classroom teaching, that is a question, because there may be debate on it, because we cannot compare what the teacher can physically provide to the students, that cannot be available in this form. But as far as the sufficiency, adequacy of this material is concerned, we have to try to provide such a material that there will not be a, you can say, the limitation of this type of online learning as compared to the classroom teaching learning process. Then in learning material, there will be invisible teacher. Your, what is that thing, you can say, your interaction with the text material means when learner will have reading self instructional material, he should feel that the interaction is going on between the teacher and learner. So while we are writing the SEAM material, at that time, it should be in the form of interactive mode. We can have the interactive things when we are writing that particular scene. At that time, you can have a dialogue with the students, so they can feel that teacher is talking with us in the form of this material, and we are responding to the particular teaching learning process. Then the SEAM should positively impact on the learning style of any student. This should have a possibility mostly to keep them connected with the content, that they should not lose the interest in the content, and you have to use your proper skills to write in that way that they will have the reading flow, as well as they should get the proper knowledge of the concept, sufficient knowledge of the concept. That's why they can understand. Along with that, sometimes when there is application oriented unit, in that case, you can provide a case study separately, or it may be a part of this material. So in a particular material, you can give the case studies, or one more thing, you can give the illustrations. Illustrations like some, suppose units of finance or accounting are there, and you want to show them how to solve the problems, or the questions, numeral questions, that you can give in a separate module, or that may be a part of self-instructional material, in which you can make a exercise that the practical application of the knowledge, how it can be done, and accordingly you can have such things. Even in some cases, or in some units, you can give the dialogue between 2 or 3 persons, by which they can understand the particular things, and that dialogue can make them very interesting for learning environment. Another thing is that this self-instructional material will help them to grow as a self-reliant and independent learners with minimal and no support from external sources. For example, nobody is guiding them, or nobody is telling them what is what, and how it is to be implemented. But at the same time, they can learn with the help of your material. So in that way, you can make them self-reliant and independent learners with your skills by writing a proper self-instructional material. Then one more thing we have to see, that when such material is given as a self-instructional material, we have to observe the thorough understanding of particular learner or student, and the learning system in open and distance learning. Ruth madam, please unmute your mic. So you can have the program that
किसको मेरे को
Dhoot madam, please mute yourself. Priyanka Dhoot madam, mute yourself, ma'am, please.
then, as we have seen a whole unit of SEAM, that can be divided into different modules or sections and subsections for the purpose of learner.
देवांश के साथ बैठना
And this division will be definitely have specific advantage. When all these things we will consider, that self learning material will be useful to the learners, and it will exhibit them the different features or characteristics to the learners. That's why you have to carefully write the self learning material or self instructional material, which should be self motivating. Means this SEAM arouse the curiosity, raise issues in the minds of learners, and motivate them to relate theoretical knowledge to real life situation, especially when we are discussing about the commerce and management today. Most of the topics and the subjects we are considering which are related to, or they are applied subjects, you can say. And in that case, real life situation is very important.
पोहोचले होते का
मॅडम होते
पोहोचले नाही
नाही
पोहोचले कापडे
हा कापडे कापडे सुचित्रा कापडे
सर, हा.
सेवड आहे माझ्याकडे नंबर बरी फोन आला होता मला हे पत्र पण द्यायला पाहिजे
काळे सर,
मी पाठवलेलं मी त्यांनी करेक्ट करून दिलेलं आहे
CS काळे सर, प्लीज.
मायनर आहे मी मार्क केलेलं कॅपिटल करूया ते बोल्ड बोल्ड
त्यांनी करून पाठवले
म्हणजे हे आणि हे दोन एनवलप पाठवले होते ही करेक्टेड कॉपी आहे त्याच्यावर मी दिलेलं आहे रिक्वायर्ड करेक्शन मटेरियल रिगार्ड
काळे सर
त्याच्याबरोबर हे माझं
आम्हाला ऐकू द्या प्लीज.
ही आणि ही आणि हे पत्र मी सगळं देतो परत
Then the second feature, first feature is self-motivating material. It should create curiosity and raise issues in the minds of learners. That's why they can relate the knowledge, their theoretical knowledge, to the real life situations. Then second thing is that this should be a self-learning material, as it will provide guide or directions, hints and references to facilitate the autonomous learning, because when such a learner will be there, no teacher will be available in his presence or at his place. So self-learning with little or no support from the external sources, this self-learning will be possible if we write the self-learning material or self-instructional material in a particular way. Then self-explanatory. As I told at the beginning, this material should be self-explanatory. It's not necessary to explain again, or there should not be a question in mind of a learner that what exactly it is. That should be clear in the self-instructional material itself. So you have to write this matter in lucid language on one hand, and at the other hand, there will be a challenge with us to write this material to introduce them a technical language of the subject. That it means two things are there. One thing, in lucid language we have to write, but technical language of the subject should be known to them. They will be aware of the technical terminology, technical knowledge of the subject after learning your unit. So it should be self-explanatory. It is not necessary to refer again another book, or in anybody he want to meet anybody and discuss the matter. However, they can do that matter, but your material should be self-explanatory. If anybody refer only the material and he want to go for complete the program, so it should be self-sufficient or self-explanatory for their purpose, and they should be clear with the concepts. As a learner, they will be able to understand without much external support from other sources. Then fourth point is self-contained, that SEAM should be self-contained, so that learners who have no access to additional resources are not disadvantaged. For example, suppose some students are in remote areas, rural areas, where they have no any access to any library, or they are not able to purchase the books for particular subject, but they can read whatever the material you are giving. So in that case, such learners should receive the sufficient material from you, self-contained material from you. That's why it is not necessary to go for read more literature or books from other sources, library, or to purchase the books from the shops. Then fifth thing or characteristics of your material, or you can say the characteristic of good SEAM, that is self-directed. So with the particular intention or objective you are writing the SEAM, and this material should guide the learners at every stage by providing necessary guidance, explanation, hints, and suggestions. So as much as explanation should be made in detail, you have to give the matter. So some places where the example is required, you have to give the example. That's why this will be self-directed material. So that is one more thing. Another thing is, this SEAM or material should be self-evaluating material. As I told you, in the particular format, there is a particular part of called check your progress. It is a provision for evaluating the knowledge, whether the learning is continued properly, that can be seen. There will be adequate scope in the particular SEAM to check their progress from time to time and get feedback on their performance. This is done through in-text questions, as we discuss here. In the text itself, we can give check your progress, and objective type questions can be given. Self check exercise, that is also to be done, that answers at the end are given, and you can check that answer and see the progress. Such some activities are also to be given in case of management subjects or accounting subjects. We can give some activities also for self evaluation. For example, if suppose there is one unit regarding the financial statement analysis. In that case, you can give one activity to the students that they should refer the website of any company, and they can see the report and financial statements of that particular company, and they can observe how which format is used, and along with that they can make exercise of financial statement analysis on those real financial statements of a particular company. At that time, those students will understand that what is given in the books as a particular head of expenditure, particular head of income, particular head of asset, or particular head of liability, that is having difference in the statement given. So they can even understand under which umbrella such type of expenses are enlisted, and incomes are enlisted under which heading particularly, and how they are to be classified. So that process they can make exercise of it. Such type of activities may be provided. Even you can give them to calculate the ratios and make comment or make a comparison between two companies with using or by using their actual financial statements to be downloaded from their websites. So such type of activities can be given. Or in case of any particular management subject, you can say you meet any finance manager or HR manager or marketing manager, and discuss this particular unit with that particular manager. So such type of activities can be given in that case, and the learner can evaluate his own knowledge by such type of activities. Then self-active, it should be that maybe the last feature or last character of your material. That material have the potential to make the learners active and responsive by engaging them in various types of activities. There, there can be there can be three types of learning activities which we can have self in making students engaged or making them self-active, because here there will be no teacher, so they should be self-active. For that purpose, what type of activities are to be given? So those activities should be pertaining to these three types. One is thinking. So they, whatever the question you are giving, by those questions they will try to think. So these questions motivate them to think from different perspectives and choose the right responses, especially in management subjects or commerce subjects. Decision making is very important, and thinking before decision making, that you know the alternatives are there and you want to choose one. And our students, we want to make our students decision makers, proper decision makers, and that's why the questions are to be given in such a way that they should think about the particular situation. They should think about skills and applying the knowledge and skill to solve the problem, to give the particular remedy to the problem. So thinking is one activity you can give through your material. Then second activity is writing activity. So in this case, you can have option some writing activities you can give, like home assignments we have in the regular programs. In that case, in such case, you can give some questions and ask them to write on a particular topics. So explaining a particular topic or concept in their own words or rephrasing the given text, even summing up the points, that is also a writing activity. For example, sometimes we can give them one full page or 2 pages case, or if we give them particular information, and if we ask that write 10 sentences on it in your own language. That is a writing exercise or writing activity, you can say. Or if we give such write essay on so and so particular theme, then they will write on it. So it will be useful. And another thing is doing activity. So experiential learning is the most interested learning, and so we have aim at developing skill among learners. So they should do what they want to learn in a particular situation, and for that purpose, you can give such type of activities for doing them. For example, make a plan for a particular journey, or see the if the distribution channel is there, and if we want to give them, you identify the market in a particular geographical area, and if we give them map reading activity, so that is again a very good exercise for them, as I think. And if they want to go for any particular visit to particular occasion, how they will identify the destination and particular thing, then for practical application is possible by this particular activity. So practical application of theories that can be done by such type of applications. And doing doing activity is nothing but the experiential learning. So you can give such a question by which they can make a practical, and they can understand the concept, or they can have they develop a skill of decision making, especially even they can develop a skill of planning, they can develop skill of controlling. Even we can tell them to visit any particular organization, and you brief something to the employees and get feedback from them. Such type of things they can do, or even we can suggest the students, especially in the marketing material of marketing subject. You go to the particular market, weekly bazaar, and identify for a particular product what are the 4 P's or 7 P's in that particular case, and write on that. That's why they can understand what exactly it. Or if you give them exercise of doing or doing activity, that if they can go in to market and they can sell a particular product, then they will understand what type of skills are required, how to convince the people and communicate the people. They can understand by doing the particular things. So I think these three activities, thinking activity, learning, writing activities, and doing activities. For these three type of activities, we have to give the questions in SIM material. That's why the decision making process will start, and they will have skill of decision making.